The man did not rush forward in fear. He did not fire wildly from a moving vehicle. He made no noise. He waited patiently. He observed. And by the time Wartok emerged, the outcome had already been determined. Just after midday, in plain sight of some of Johannesburg's busiest city streets, DJ Warras was deliberately killed. This was not confusion. This was not chance. This was calculated. Information now coming out of the police investigation into the murder of Wartok, widely known as DJ Warras, removes any lingering belief that the attack was sudden or emotional. What authorities are outlining instead suggests something far more chilling, carefully organized, and alarmingly consistent with a wider and deeply concerning pattern developing in Gauteng. Police say the main suspect is a short male with dreadlocks. Surveillance footage captures him moving toward Warras as he exited Zambesi House in Johannesburg CBD on Tuesday, December 16. Seconds later, shots ring out. The suspect fires at close proximity and then calmly attempts to leave the scene. This was not a drive-by attack. There was no vehicle waiting, no frantic escape through traffic, no disorder. The shooter had positioned himself there in advance. Acting Gauteng Provincial Commissioner Major General Nlanhla Mkhwanatsi confirmed that spent cartridges were recovered at the scene, supporting evidence that multiple shots were fired before the suspect fled on foot. The footage itself is disturbing in how ordinary it appears. The suspect can be seen seated near Warras's vehicle before the shooting. Another person, wearing what looks like a form of security attire, is also visible close by. Whether that individual played a role or was merely present is now a key focus of the investigation. Police are actively pursuing both the suspect and the firearm used, yet the video only deepens the mystery. Why was the suspect already waiting there? Why did he feel safe approaching on foot? Why was there no visible panic after the shots were fired? And most troubling, why does this incident resemble a targeted execution rather than a spontaneous crime? The killing happened directly across from the Carlton Centre, one of Johannesburg's most recognizable landmarks. This is not an isolated or hidden area. It is heavily trafficked, monitored by cameras, guarded by security, and constantly busy. Whoever carried out the shooting understood exactly where they were and proceeded regardless. Major General Mkhwanatsi also pointed to a major challenge facing investigators, Zambesi House itself. Police say most occupants of the building are undocumented, turning what should have been a routine witness-gathering effort into a complex forensic challenge. Warras was reportedly a co-owner of the building, a fact now central to police inquiries. Investigators are examining the ownership arrangements as well as the identities and activities of those living there. This has opened another investigative path, one police are cautious about but cannot dismiss. There are indications the murder may be connected to disputes involving hijacked buildings in the Johannesburg CBD, though authorities emphasize that no final conclusions have been drawn. "We are keeping an open mind," Mkhwanatsi said, and those words carry particular weight because this case intersects multiple volatile arenas: inner-city property conflicts, private security operations, allegations of organized crime, and an expanding list of DJs who have been killed. Police believe the suspects walked a significant distance after the shooting, indicating this was not a hurried escape. Officers are tracing possible walking routes and reviewing CCTV footage from nearby streets, businesses, and transport points. The public has been urged to come forward with any information. "We know they traveled far on foot after the shooting," Mkhwanatsi stated, adding that police are tracking movements to locate them. Meanwhile, the emotional reality at the scene spoke volumes. For hours, loved ones stayed where Warras collapsed. The blood-stained pavement became a sight of silent mourning. At one moment, relatives poured water from bottles to wash away the blood. It was neither ceremonial nor symbolic. It was instinctive, a final effort to restore dignity to a place marked by loss. Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department Superintendent Zolani Fila confirmed JMPD officers arrived first, alerted not by radio dispatch but by civilians who physically stopped them and pointed toward the scene. Even in a city accustomed to violence, bystanders recognized this incident as different. The body remained there for hours while forensic and pathology teams completed their work. Family and friends were asked to stay, though some struggled to endure the wait. When the pathology vehicle finally left just after 4 p.m., the street seemed to release a breath, but the shock lingered. At the scene, Warras's sister, Nicole Stark, showed remarkable composure amid grief. She asked South Africans to allow police the space to conduct their investigation. There was no blame, no speculation, no outward anger. Instead, she urged the nation to remember who her brother was rather than how he died. She said he addressed many issues, including controversial ones, but asked people not to dwell on negativity, describing him as kind, selfless, and someone who loved everyone. Her words stood in contrast to the rising noise online. She added that he found humor in life and believed South Africans should never be divided. That appeal matters because DJ Warras was more than a DJ. He was a broadcaster, commentator, provocateur, father, entrepreneur, and increasingly a political voice. He worked at YFM, 5FM, and Gagossi FM, and over the past 2 years turned to podcasting, where his opinions became more direct and impossible to ignore. Fellow DJ PH described him as energetic and genuine, a devoted father with a sharp strategic mind who was involved in multiple ventures, including security. That connection is not being overlooked by investigators. Tributes flooded in from across the entertainment world, but one response stood out. Sports, Arts and Culture Minister Gayton McKenzie spoke plainly, saying he was angry and heartbroken that DJ Warras had been killed. He noted that Warras spoke honestly without fear, even criticizing McKenzie himself and his decisions as minister. That admission alone dispels any notion that Warras was aligned with power. He challenged authority openly. McKenzie added that Warras loved both isiZulu and Afrikaans and represented the best of who South Africans could be. When a sitting minister acknowledges the killing of someone who publicly opposed him, the implications are stark. This is not about political allegiance. It is about freedom of expression. And that is where the broader context becomes deeply unsettling. In recent months, the state has told the courts that an organized crime network is targeting DJs in Gauteng. What once seemed theoretical now feels painfully real. Warras's death follows a series of killings allegedly tied to private security figures and criminal syndicates. Firearms link cases. Names repeat. Networks intersect. Police now say the shooter did not flee in chaos. He walked away, merged into the crowd, and vanished into the city. That behavior signals planning, not impulse. While the motive remains under investigation, the known facts refuse to fade. A man with dreadlocks waiting near a car in broad daylight, outside a building linked to contested ownership, in a province where DJs are allegedly being targeted and where cartel infiltration is suspected. South Africans are being urged to remain patient and avoid speculation, and that is fair. But patience does not eliminate fear, and fear does not disappear simply because authorities say they are pursuing every lead. Because the question being asked quietly is not who fired the gun, but who decided that DJ Warras had to die. Until that question is answered openly and convincingly, this killing will not become just another statistic. It will remain a symbol of something far darker, a reminder that in modern South Africa, having a microphone can make you influential and dangerously exposed, and on Commissioner Street beneath the shadow of the Carlton Centre, that visibility cost Warwick Stock his life.